Here we go. Alright, welcome back to Dr. Stone, Anime Review Episode 51. We are here reviewing the 70th episode of the series, Gazing at the Same Moon. This episode adapted from chapters 170 and 171 of the manga. Yeah, this particular episode starts the South America arc, which, if you're really curious, how long is this arc per se? This arc is not as long as North American City, not in the slightest. It is surprisingly only 24 chapters. And this episode covered the first 2 chapters. Now, I don't know of how much I can cover this arc. I have no idea. But I do know this is that the ending of this one sets up the very next arc of the series, New Stone World. So, in this episode, we start off with of how Dr. Zeno first met Stanley in the past. This is, of course, further petrification stuff. And then we jump ahead to present day, where we have Dr. Zeno in what appears to be like a lounge room on this small ship they're on, which are here with Suka, the 3 defectors. Let's see, Chrome is here. Basically, a lot of the major characters are here, basically on this ship. And basically, the ship's goal is to go to South America to find out where the petrification review is sources. Not a bad idea. Well, before we talk about what goes on the boat, let's talk about what happens on Stanley. Well, on basically the regular ship was held hostage by Stanley's group. There is, of course, Nina. She, of course, is like, people at the city is like, oh, it was like, you have to follow orders. Like, this is neutral territory. You had to we have to cooperate with each other. Okay. It's a brief scene, basically, North America. Well, basically, what used to be San Francisco. That's kind of where the current city is. In the case of the ship itself, well, we have where some of the characters are basically on the run. We have where the swordsman of the group gets, well, wounded, held hostage by Stanley's group, and then later on interrogated where possibly went. And of course, basically, well, what's his name here? Basically, Geno, because he does not want his bodyguard to be harmed. So basically, he basically tells them exactly where the heck they're going, which is South America. Okay, interesting. Yes, so it's very brief. So a lot of the episode is simply this. Basically, Chrome is, well, you have a really cool scene here. We have Dr. Zeno first listening to the recording that basically Byakuya, Senku's adoptive father, recorded that was first discovered back at the end of season 1 for the show. And he's like, oh, that's what happened. Yeah, basically, now he's informed exactly what the heck happened in the space station. And then, of course, Chrome, basically, being the science, someone who loves science, he wants to get on this conversation between the 2 science geniuses. So basically, he proceeds to coerce his way into the room where we'll discuss basically about education being using bubbles covering the earth, which I actually thought was really cool. Heck, they even reveal what the time was. Yeah, what the time was when basically where, and of course the name and locations where, of course they came up with a possible theory on possibly making up on the ground. But, oh, that's cool. Yeah. But of course, Senku reveals, oh no, it came from the air, it came from the sky. I'm like, that's interesting. The fact he suspected that. The ground thing basically is a good hypothesis per se, and he gets. I like the fact Chrome gets a lot, get the ball running on a lot of possible hypotheses, and the thing is, Zeno actually agrees with a lot of what Chrome is saying. As a hypothesis, he does basically, yeah, that's a good hypothesis, and he does support it per se about various different stuff. Yep. Oh, okay. Yeah. I was looking at something Discord. So, then of course, basically, the source, like, okay, they knew that someplace South America, and of course, apparently, they revealed in this episode that it took approximately 15 minutes for the petrification to encompass the entire planet. And based upon what it was, and the fact that the space station could have been a geosynchronous orbit, basically, given the fact it was around the sun, like, it could have hit the beam. But they actually kind of basically put theory out there that it may not be as high as they thought it was. It was just as high as... Because they do basically point out, though, even airplanes were affected by this. Yep, airplanes. So, they are presuming that it probably went as far as maybe 20,000 feet in the air, but not past the atmosphere. And of course, we got the Wide Man. That was something they discovered back at the end of season 2 of the show. It feels like we had a lot of progression about the petrification of this episode, and the fact that apparently between where Dr. Zeno was in San Francisco, well, the area, and where Senku was at high school, apparently the cross the ocean petrification took approximately, actually that was 15 minutes, actually just a few minutes. It means it must have been spread out really quickly, which I do appreciate. Like, yeah, there's a lot of science stuff in this episode, but the episode itself is just pure awesomeness. I love this episode. And it's nice, though, we get a chance to see, right now anyways, I think this might be currently the only anime Dallas Reed might be doing now for dub-wise, because he is the voice of one of Luna's bodyguards. We do briefly hear him in the episode, but I wouldn't be surprised, basically, well... he's going to stick around. He's basically here. He affects the good guys at the end of Core 1. So, I am definitely looking forward to the remaining episodes of this season. Now, unlike in the case of Dandadan, which is the anime review next, that is confirmed of a 12-episode count for Season 2. Not the case of Dr. Stone Core 2. No. And Crunchyroll has it where it's not like a separate thing for Dr. Stone episodes. It's on the same page. Which, I kind of feel like, this is my opinion, I think that's a smart idea. Yes, there may be a time skip, but basically like, oh, this episode's released at this point, and this episode's released at this point. And anybody can do easily research of why there's a gap between episodes. Simple. Cores. That was simply the reason for it. And given the fact the season is supposed to be 3 cores, I would not be surprised the fact that this season probably lasts more than 2 episodes. If I would take a guess. So, I would think, given how much that we have here, I don't think that we're going to have this whole core cover just the South America arc. No, I don't think so. I think they're going to cover South America, which covered like 12 episodes, maybe less. New Stone World, unless they decide to increase the number of chapters. This one is roughly 7 chapters. I could say this is finished about 3.5 maybe. And then they could start up Globetrotting, which is 12 chapters right there. So, I think the whole of Core 2, this is my personal theory, that Core 2, either the episode is going to be 2 chapters, it could be 3, but I think Core 2 will probably cover just South America, New Stone World, and Globetrotting. I am presuming of that, and then Core 3 will probably cover Moon Mission, which is the last arc of the series. I find it interesting, though, that of all the arcs, New American City is quite lengthy at 31 chapters. Its previous arc was 38, Treasure Island. Yeah, 38 chapters. You're like, really? 38? Yeah. So Treasure Island is one of the more lengthier ones at 38 episodes, while the Communications arc was 32. I'd say that the previous arc of the series, New York City, that was the third longest arc of the series. This one is only 24 chapters, which seems like a bit less. Yeah, but we'll find out. We'll see with that one. Okay, so that is pretty much it for the particular video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. Next up, basically, we have is Dawn of Dawn. Okay, thanks, bye.